Hello everyone and welcome to your horoscope for the week of January 23rd, 2023. This is quite an intense week where we are definitely going to be experiencing a intense energy shift where all of the energies, all of the themes are becoming much more dynamic, forward moving, sudden, unexpected changes, or diversion in courses of action, which do start changing the big picture, intensity, things that have been delayed, things that have been, put on queue list, things that we ourselves put on the shelf, of course respecting the retrogrades that we are this week truly navigating out of from. So that means that which we put on the shelf, time to dust off and put to good use. And this week kind of promotes intensity, dynamism, action, forward movement, both emotionally, like concrete action, out there in the world, in our careers, in our relation with, officialities and society, but also deeply personal things, also spiritual, also financial. So it is quite an intense and action-packed week. So the first thing that is kind of special is that by the very beginning of the week, the 23rd of January, all planets, all major planets, and those which are kind of very important, are already direct. Uranus is still in standstill, of course, because it just went direct on the 22nd, but its expression is amplified still, and from, Uranus retrograde is when its energy is very much inward. So it kind of comes to the surface in many expressions from our higher minds. So we are the triggers of it. When it starts going direct, its expression is changing from internal inward to outward. So how it affects us personally, but as I said, time for action, time to get out of the comfort zone or the safety zone, and time to actually do it. Now, externally, this can be a bit different because Uranus going direct affects tectonic movements. Certain elements which are already set up can detonate. For example, if health and safety rules are neglected for a prolonged period of time, this is when, boom, or the accident happens. Also, this can cause us to feel a certain kind of anxiety, certain kind of restlessness, the sense that we need to act immediately, but it has a positive side as well. For example, serendipity. But long story short, Uranus charges everything. It dynamizes, it prepares us both individually, collectively, internally, and externally as well, because sometimes the boom or the tectonic movement, the big storm, the unusual weather phenomenon is a determining factor basically to get us moving. Besides Uranus, as I said, other planets have gone direct very, very recently. Uranus's lower octave, Mercury, has gone direct. So that means it's going through its shadow path. Resolutions, whatever we have done was done to us. Whatever we rethought, reprocessed, reanalyzed, redone, rebuilt, rewritten, anything that we have done recently, well, now it's time to put to good use, basically. Mercury in the sign of Capricorn going forward. Also, everything about power dynamics, things at, the job, Capricorn, out there in the official world, contracts, relations with authorities, how we manage our time. Is it worth it or is it not? Power dynamics or hierarchy at the work. Do I make that step, the advancement? Do I accept the promotion or, the new position, better said? Or do I actually keep the one I am? Or do I even downgrade a little bit sometimes? Familial situations can benefit from a downgrade. Maybe, sometimes we personally don't get all that much of the glory and whatever, but a downgrade can be a bliss and a breath of fresh air to our familial situation. So sometimes a downgrade is actually divinely orchestrated. It's not a bad thing, especially if we reach these conclusions under Mercury retrograde, and especially Black Moon Lilith entering into Leo. This is when we're painfully honest with ourselves. And sometimes the honesty means, the job, the position, the extra responsibilities, along, of course, with the moments of glory, are not that worth it. Because my wife's or my husband's cuddle at night or spending time with my children, now that's the ambrosia of life. That's the nectar of the gods. So, a downgrade is a blessing in that sense. Now, of course, Mercury is just one planet, Mars is the other one. And also at the very beginning of the week, as both planets, Mercury and Mars, went direct, roughly at the same time, they also hold a quincunx. And this quincunx was held even in their retrograde motion. So the quincunx links together two areas of life which has nothing apparently to do with each other, but we need to figure them out. We need to see the correlation. And what is the correlation here? And also, it's not just Mercury holding a quincunx to Mars, but also the South Node in Mars' ancient ruling sign of Scorpio. That kind of means a yacht formation. That kind of means that, the finger of God is pointing at Mars in Gemini. So let's analyze this. South Node, the past. Everything that Scorpio, you accomplished, you achieved, the mistakes, everything that you suffered, everything that you lost, all the toxicity of others, your own toxicity of family dynamics, power dynamics, sexuality, in partnerships, how much, for example, did sexual attraction contribute to the well-being of your relationships, to the stability, or the power partners people have over one another, especially financially, as in, do you love your husband, your wife? Yes, absolutely, but the fact that they support me materially or in any other way, sexually for example, that is like 50 or 60 or even 80%. So love is a bit conditioned. So this can be the South Node in Scorpio, everything that you kind of know, and the power dynamics that are natural, familiar to you because you're part of them. And Scorpio can have a spiritual side as well. So if alchemy, the occult, the power, how much power does spirituality have over you? How much power does the spiritual routine practice, the methodology have over you? The South Node in Scorpio sometimes tell you, you kind of know the routines. Now time to be free. Time to know even that which you don't want to know because it's in your power. Anyway, but then Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, the real, the concrete, the true power that you need in your life or you have in your life, your intelligence, your decisions, your communication, the thought and the down-to-earth thinking that you also apply to your everyday life, and that determines your lived reality. Now let's see the quincunx. So what is the finger of God point? Mars in the sign of Gemini. And Gemini, even if it's a quincunx, it actually correlates to all of this because Gemini is the self and the outer reality is just the twin, the mirror of the self. Mars is action. Mars is the power of intelligence, mind, communication, words. And the esoteric ruler of Gemini is none other than Venus. So Gemini is also, in a non-direct way, a Venusian sign, truly. Because words, the thought, the communication, and attitude. Gemini is also attitude. And what's Gemini's attitude? Everyone else is like a bro or a sister, Gemini is those signs who can truly find a common theme, ground, thought, something with any other being. So communicate, a bridge is built. And Mars asks us to use all the wisdom and everything that happened under Mars retrograde, so all of December, and build bridges. Build bridges strongly, because Mars in Gemini also showed us how bridges are not supposed to be built. So we know that. Now we also know how bridges are meant to be built to last a long, long, long time. And let's ignore the quincunx and let's see Mars's other aspects that highlight everything this week. Mars holds a I'm so sorry, a sextile with Jupiter. What does this tell us? Well, if Aries is the head, the thought Gemini is in the head. The voice, the communication kind of many times leaves through the head, but it's also fire. Gemini's air. So that kind of means that there is a strong chemical and even alchemical synergy between these two signs. And sextile is work aspect. Intense, what you input, you get out of it. So you can imagine that being brave, being bold, acting with belief, acting with self-empowerment, acting with confidence, but acting with all the wisdom, all the information, all the decanted truth that we possess after these retrogrades, that gets us somewhere. Or it gets us the person that we need, because Gemini can be the other person. The soul level brother sister. The twin. The mirror soul. So this is where things are accomplished. And the accomplishment is work in progress. So this is just the start. When this is almost like a race. When the cars or dogs or horses are aligned at the start, the flag comes and everyone rushes. So this is the kind of energy. But it's not like just a mindless rush, because it's guided. The bullseye is very crystallized there. So you're going, you're rushing, you're working, you're inputting everything into this. And the other energy that is very, very important is that the sun will hold a trine. Sun already entered into the sign of Aquarius. So, of course, very happy birthday month to all of the Aquarius natives. And yes, it will hold a trine with Mars. And that's really, really good. Because what is Aquarius? It's everyone else we are connected to. Sometimes we can also see it, the realities, all the quantum strings that we have in our lives. So sometimes Aquarius includes people who we do not really know yet, but are still, their energy, their presence is already in our lives, but we don't know them yet. We feel them, or something that they do already reverberates in our lives. Aquarius is also, the internet. And that offers a myriad of possibilities. At the very beginning of the week, we're freshly after an Aquarius new moon. The ruling planet of Aquarius, Uranus, is, as I said, direct, but still, it has that shadow empowerment. So the sign of Aquarius is very, very empowered, activated, and forcefully present in our lives. That area of life where Aquarius falls in your chart is also highly activated. And okay, we have the Sun and Mars trine. That is where Gemini, your thoughts, your intelligence, the lower mind, the practical mind. But Aquarius comes with the higher mind as well, and everyone else's mind. If you have a common purpose with other people, chances are this week is very important, because you're going to get things done. You might get support, you might get favorable news, communication. you might get like a green light to go, 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 But from fate, from other people, from circumstances, the challenges are gonna be there, don't you worry. But perhaps this week is not all that much about how tough the challenges are, but how we can overcome them by momentum, by drive, by sometimes jumping through them. If we cannot break through, we can climb through, jump through. Cooperation, collaboration, there are other people in our lives to help us. So we're not alone this week. And Aquarius hosts the Venus also at the very beginning of the week on the 23rd. Venus Saturn conjunction, and the moon joins them. A triple conjunction. Saturn, structure, stability. Venus, value, emotion. So this is a reality check. A reality check which basically echoes all throughout our being. The lower ego, the higher mind, the lower mind, the sun, basically the identity that we generate. Everything is in unison here. This reality check is either a choice, a decision, a truth, or again, Aquarius. You might be just one part of a greater group. So whatever the group, the community, the union of the different souls or whatever, united by a purpose, by a principle, by something, of course, higher or humanitarian or a need, whatever. If it comes from the group, well, you can imagine that it will reverberate in your life as well, because you're part of it. And the quincunx, sometimes we don't know that we're part of it, and we're part of it. And whatever happens to the group happens to us, but in the most favorable way here. Because we must not forget the Sun-Mars trine. So we feel it as something ultimately positive. Another person, an ally, a communication, an institution, a travel, why not? And yes, Jupiter and Mars sextile travels, journeys, maybe not necessarily the long journeys, but the shorter ones, activity, going back and forth, shorter distance, meeting people. All of this does produce very important effects. And the moon's presence at the beginning of the week in this triple conjunction Moon, Saturn, Venus, the soul, even collective emotions, so something crystallizes, something is put on the table, you know something, you have something, you are already part of something, you were offered something, so something is concrete there and it's part of your future. Of course, this might have a harsher side to it, Saturn. What you need to sacrifice, what ended, what already isn't working, what you need to get out from, escape from, leave, a relationship, a contract, a way of life, a modus vivendi, whatever. But it needs to happen. Now moving on, there are other energies that do color the scene, where the Sun opposes Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith in the sign of Leo. Why is this important? Because if Aquarius is the community and everything that basically we are connected to the world, so to speak, not the Capricornian side to it, but still the thought, the mental structure, the laws, the symbiosis is ultimately there. But there is the individual, there is the ego, there is my needs, there is that which I am and I do not share with the group, or the group does not have anything to do with that type of individuality, Black Moon Lilith in Leo. Whatever delights or who you are in your heart of hearts. Let's not forget that nature, the universe, everything is composed of different elements. And we human beings are born from not just the highest divine realms, but also dirt. So we have a rather aggressive, dirty, animalistic part to us as well that ultimately needs satisfaction and needs, why not, respect. Why? Because it kind of keeps us alive. It it ensures our place in matter, so to speak. And the opposition between the this is basically give to the divine that belongs to the divine, but also give the Caesar, Black Moon Lilith in the sign of Leo, what belongs to the Caesar. So you need to sacrifice time for yourself, for your pleasures, for your fight, whatever that means to you, because Leo is the adventure of life. Everyone has a fight, everyone has a struggle, everyone has something that makes them burn. And you know, Aquarius, Sun in Aquarius, sometimes the community has to support that side of you which has nothing to do with it for the sheer sake of you. Sometimes the the community, the Aquarius, others who we're connected to, has to honor that side of you which has nothing to do with them, which doesn't benefit them, but the community has to honor the individual. So this can ultimately be a really, really positive energy for some, and the energy of toil, but for the sake of let's help X person for everyone else. Either way, it is what it is. Now, another energy that Jupiter, of course, does kind of square Mercury at the very beginning of the week. So again, Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, all of the Mercury retrograde themes, of course. They stress us, they are urgent, but Jupiter, let's not rush into them just for the sheer sake to get them over quickly as possible, because haste, rush, celerity also lower standards. So let's not forget that side where it's for the longer term future, not just immediately to get it off our hands and bye bye. And this might affect you professionally if you rush and haste. But the other thing, where you kind of take way more time than needed to for the nitty gritty, for the finishing touches, that's also not recommended. So basically the square between Mercury and Jupiter. Manage your time, manage your priorities, manage your loyalties even wisely. And another energy is that Mercury also trines Uranus, an Earth trine. So this is quite good. The breakthrough, the epiphany, that which you need, the person, the money, the job, the contract, the situation even, the help from others, the friend or why not the new person who some unexplainably has a sympathy for you and they just kick you, push you into the right direction in a way like you didn't see that coming. But it does the job. And of course, you will be pleasantly surprised. Then we cannot forget the Sun and Mars trine, which is the delight, which is, well, it's getting it done. It's being done. I'm getting there. It's being built before my eyes. I'm doing it. I'm capable. I'm valuable. Why not? I'm not alone. I have what I need in my life. Whatever that is, so I'm doing it. Then later on in the week, oh, and another thing at the beginning of the week, before I don't forget, Jupiter conjuncts Juno. And to me, this is so nice. Why? Because Juno is Hera, so Jupiter's wife. This is like a divine union. Juno in astrology governs partnerships. So, as an astrologer, I must not plant false hope in anyone's heart. And I know that if I speak about romantic things, those of us who are lonely and suffering from this and don't have all that much of a hope for this to change, not immediately but ever, it's like bittersweet. But let's face it, when Jupiter is in union with his wife, well, that is kind of felt in here down here on Earth as well. Because if Jupiter is the great benefic, and that benefic is delighted by his partner, his wife, basically the nectar of his heart. Just, let's translate this into a very lived earthly experience. When there is that couple who are so powerful when they unite, when they can do anything together, there is that couple, the power couple. Everyone else, every relative, friend, neighbor of that power couple kind of benefits from this when they have their peak. Not always, of course, but when they have their peak moment. When from their love, something, a big party, a charitable action, something big is being born and everyone benefits. Now, if that happens on the sky, with the planet of good fortune, the great benefic, blessings, faith, and in the sign of Aries, it's when it's now, it's when it's real, intense. There's no way of not feeling it, basically. So this is an energy of blessing, basically, and maybe that blessing is in partnership. If Jupiter has his wife, then maybe everyone kind of has a symbol of a partner. And even those people who don't have like a partnership or cannot get a partnership immediately, then the spirit is your partner. Either way, this is like a divine union, which sometimes might reflect in our lives. And let's not forget that later on both Jupiter and Juno will conjunct Chiron in the same sign, healing. Juno conjunct Chiron, a healer, someone heals you with love, with whatever. Jupiter conjunct Chiron, you feel the blessing of being healed and it makes you a healer one way or another. Or you fight for healing, etc. So yes, this energy does delight me quite a lot because when Jupiter is happy, usually other people are happy as well. And another interesting element is that Jupiter and Juno oppose Ceres, asteroid Ceres in the sign of Libra. So, Ceres is nurture. Ceres is, especially in the sign of Libra, justice, balance, equilibrium. So for some people, this means you get the nurture that you needed. Maybe you get the nurture that you even learn to live without. But now you don't have to live without. And this tips the scale, tips the balance. Now, collectively speaking, this might mean food shortages or energy shortage, supply, because Libra is sometimes that which we have contracted, the services, the utilities. So Ceres is the permanent provide provision, yeah. So Jupiter might say cutoffs, or Juno partnership, you change, or it's changed for you, or they come with terms and conditions that you terminate. Like, for example, energy company, utility, gas, electricity, internet, phone, or any service, anything, medical service, massage, basically anything where you have like an agreement or a contract or if they change a term and condition unilaterally that you find outrageous, you terminate it. Mercury supports this. The union of Jupiter and Juno supports this because Jupiter is justice. Juno is the partner. But if the partner is doing injustice to you, you say, I wanted to show a rude gesture, but no. You show the middle finger to them. But it's ultimately positive, a moment of divine rage. But you can imagine on the world stage, this is not as favorable because it means strikes, it means blockages, it means financial blockages, the money's blocked, it means a lot of legal cases, legal fight, and legal union where like two forces that are opposing, let's say, the state or the providing company, the big company together, as in individually, find alliance. And they make from their individual trials one bigger one where they and everyone else join forces. This will definitely play out on the world stage. But also, long story short series, food shortages, disruptions, so let's be prepared for that. Moving on around the 26th, Venus is an erratic position in the sign of Aquarius. So this is where Venus and she's still not very tightly, but still conjunct Saturn. So repartition of resources. And more in an official way. So benefit system, medical help, benefit. I'm not sure how to express this because in each country and in each kind of continent it's different. Here in Europe it's different than it is in America or Australia. So how do I use words which everyone kind of understands the same way? So let me just use the main symbolism. Venus value, Aquarius everyone, and Aquarius always when it's Aquarius and collective, the French Revolution, liberty, fraternity, equality. So it's everyone matters, everyone is important. Equality has to be like proper, not just blah blah blah. So yeah, and Venus money, values, and information on the internet, what we give value to. Something needs to change here. So this will be the collective expression. On the other hand, individually, not good for haircut, not good for hair dye, not good for wardrobe change. Don't throw out old things yet. Wait until Venus moves into the sign of Pisces, which happens on the 27th of January, where she is in exaltation. So Pisces is the exalted sign of Venus. She loves being here. It's all about arts, dreams, romance, fantasy, everything that's beautiful, everything that's sacred, everything that's divine, escapism, but the best part of escapism, when the high heals you, when it's not really doing drugs, it's just going to ayahuasca, when the alcohol actually makes your night beautiful, humorous, when that book which kind of made you be addicted to it actually sees you through in such a beautiful way in an otherwise very hard period in life, like loneliness, depression, etc. But the book, computer game, or any escapism just does mountains of good, and it doesn't do the harm. And Venus, it's always a beautiful period for artists, for spiritualists, and for single people because Venus brings on the romance. She brings on the feeling. She brings on the holding hands, touching feet, the cuddles, moonlight in the air, rose petals, the everything that is romantic basically. And of course romanticism in music, in arts, in in places, because you can imagine that Venus in the sign of Pisces ruins cathedrals, abandoned places, but those which are not ultimately disgusting, but they are like romantic or mysterious or a bit freaky or a bit occult. Why not? Because Venus will trine the South Node and the sign of Scorpio, everything. So this is where even the occult, slightly dark demonic graveyard, is deeply romantic. So going back on this theme, so lonely souls who are also in romantic mood, which is Venus in Pisces, the positive side of melancholy, the positive side of introvert, the positive side of living from within. And these people, when Venus is in the sign of Pisces, are usually travel to these places either because they have a sleepless night, or they're washed away by emotion, or they have a kind of high and the high takes them to, and they meet each other by, and they think that, oh, it's a miracle, it's fated, when usually every Venus in Pisces season would have been ideal for them to kind of get together this way. But even, acquaintances, because let's not forget, Venus was in Aquarius not so long ago, and she brings that energy with her. That acquaintance or that friend who is a friend, but you don't know them all that well, because maybe you're more of in a professional connection to them, or a neighbor or a friend, just a friend, and you discover their romantic side, and relationships change. So yeah. And what's even more important, well, Jupiter conjunct Juno. So Jupiter is the ancient ruling planet of Pisces, but Jupiter isn't even needed because Neptune, the modern ruling planet of Pisces, is there in Pisces waiting for Venus to meet him, and but needless to say, Neptune has his own wife, Salasha, in the sign of Aries, where the moon meets Salasha this week, and ultimately Juno will meet Salasha. So basically, how interesting. In 2022, in April, the husbands met. Actually Venus was there too. Under the supervision of Venus, Neptune and Jupiter met in Pisces. So their sign, their castle, their underwater castle of Triton, let's say. So they had a good talk, they had a good party, they had a deeply philosophical night, and because Venus was there, also probably an escapism moment. And then Jupiter went on to do his job in the sign of Aries. And then this is where the wives meet, because Jupiter meets his wife, Juno, and then Jupiter meets Neptune's wife, Salasha. But then the wives also meet with each other, where Salasha meets Juno. So, long and complicated story short, this is where these partners work together to do something important in our lives individually. What could these partners, this foursome or whatever, do? A healing that otherwise would be impossible. Because why not? There is the type of heartbreak, type of trauma, type of really, really bad tens of years, which is beyond healing. Let's face it, the psychologist, the priest, the astrologer, even the mystic is helpless, totally helpless. And the hypnotist, well, he knows that he's just putting the time bomb there. So even he knows that he's just buying an illusion. The person years of illusion, where, okay, I buried this within you, but the clock will tick it. When the alarm will go off, bye-bye. But There are some rare events like this where even the stars say why? Because Chiron. Chiron is an active power player in all this cocktail. Will say, the stars will say, but is truly your wound unhealable? Are you truly sure? Because when a wound within us is unhealable, rest sure that 50% is our soul's choice that, nah, I don't want to heal. When our heart broke, whenever it did, or did whatever happened, the soul said to the integrity of creation that I cannot go through, I will not forgive. I will not forgive and I will not forget, and I will bring my pain to the most highest judge. So that means that the wound cannot heal. How will a soul bring the complaint to the highest judge? This way, on not healing ever. Jupiter is justice. Neptune is the divine source. Chiron is the healer. So, long story short, please rethink, Jupiter says to the soul, please rethink, are you sure that you cannot heal anymore? But because if you're not sure, my brother Neptune can just wash away everything. It can just and then we come to Salasha. Even the past can be alchemized. You can simply go back and choose to forgive the wound. And then we come to Juno. Another person in life will be a reflection of your healing. You get where I'm going. So this can be as minor as maybe other astrologers are laughing at my interpretation and my basically alchemical analysis of this energy. But sometimes it's the small power players that do the impossible. So yes, and romance is definitely a cure to the you know, life-threatening illnesses sometimes. You know, how many miraculous healings in hospitals, Pisces, hospitals, prisons, containment, when you're, isolated, was produced by a dog, the pet, by a cheer, by the cleric, by the priest, by the nurse who is a soul midwife in secret. How many nurses are actually spiritualists who gave up living the life of a mystic to be a soul midwife? I had colleagues when I wasn't making a living out of this, who actually just came up to me and said, Attila, I know who you are really, because I'm like that too. What do you do? Oh, you're an astrologer, and okay, I'm a soul midwife, so I work as a nurse, and when there's an orphan dying, I'm the mother. I whisper words of healing in their ear, and that's how that child dies. And you know that that child goes where they deserve to be. They won't get lost in this world, as it would be the case. And I met people like this, and they are real life superheroes. But of course, that there is life. When the orphan is encouraged to get a life, to stay out of trouble, get out of drugs, the nurse, the soul midwife nurse, goes there and whispers the sacred words into the air. She programs that person, that soul, to have a happy life. So you see where the Vestals, the Sibyls, did they really disappear or did they just readapt? And when they're young, those soul midwives, they don't even know. They don't do this consciously, but after the 1 millionth case solved, they know. They just know, okay, this is who I am, this is what I've done. Then they meet the astrologer, the psychic, the whatever, the witch, the occultist, the sorcerer, and they tell, oh, well, you've been doing this all your life. And, then alliances are formed. Then everyone will just work silently. So usually, yeah, there is always help out there. There are always certain souls who do a kind of work out there which no one knows apart from them, their colleagues, and the divine, of course. And Juno, you chances are you might meet a soul like this and you'll be saved. Sometimes salvation is possible. This is what Jupiter and his bro Neptune been doing in 2020 in April. That is why they stayed together. And they drowned the world, literally Australia. They drowned it. And that was their tears, their rage. Anyway, so moving on in 2023-2024, well, Jupiter until May visits through Aries, because Aries is the head sense of direction, where the North Node is entering. So we need to choose our path in any way, shape, and form, collectively, individually, soul, mind, spirit. We need to choose our path so very much wisely and with true self-belief, where self-belief is not believing in your lower ego. No, your lower ego is nothing really. But even the lower ego needs the gentleness and the support of your belief. But don't focus your beliefs on it, because you're not your ego. You are... No, if you want to know what the feeling when we are at our most authentic, it is when you have like a lucid dream and you're aware in it. You're not aware fully that it's a dream, but you are also not your identity, your ego, you're just you. Those are the moments when we can feel who we truly are, how we truly are. So basically that's you, and that energy needs the belief that you can make it, that you are meant to be an active part of the future, because you're a co-creator and you're building it, and there are certain roles, moments in life, which yes, only you and absolutely no one else can fulfill. And usually when our roles are unique, that means moment of great joy or miracle for other people. So we would strip other souls from the highs of their existence, would we not be part of the future. So this is what Jupiter is doing. So we need to collaborate, and this week is highly motivational and inspirational in this sense. And another energy which I would like to speak about is that Pallas Athena opposes in the sign of Cancer. Actually, this is where I think I'm telling a lie here, because my notes are not correct. Pallas Athena cannot be in opposition. So Pallas Athena, yes, is in the sign of Leo, and she holds an Pallas Athena is in the sign of Cancer, and she holds an opposition with Mercury. So I'm really, really sorry about that. It is actually Juno who holds an opposition to, the planetoid series. So that's what I mixed up here. So Pallas Athena opposing Mercury. This is quite an important energy, because for a lot of people, family and their soul calling. Mercury is in the part of the sky which has to do with their soul calling, Capricorn. Pallas Athena is in the part of the sky which is more family, which is more personal, where my soul wants to belong. So an opposition means different choices, different decisions. An opposition means what is kind of susceptible to tactics and what is just susceptible to sheer force. So, for some people, this is where they will have deep and very profound talks with their family and see what their family needs from them. And if their family needs their time, well, then they might have to decide to cut down on the time they allocate to their soul calling. But this can play out exactly the opposite way as well. So these might be some very difficult moments of decision in the family of some people where it's about actually their time. So this might conclude this week's horoscope. Thank you so much for listening and staying with me. I do hope that this was helpful. And again, with all planets starting to go direct, or major planetary influences, all I can do is wish everyone happy surfing, and may you always keep your balance, and may your basket be full of opportunities and help from allies, and why not, may romance truly flood your life like in no other time. So thank you everyone for all the love, all the support. Until next time, bye for now.